Hello everyone. Today I'll be showing you how to deploy a personal portfolio website in AWS. So I'll be deploying this to S3 bucket and also link this to my domain and make this HTTPS protected. After that, I'll also be utilizing Lambda, DynamoDB and SNS. So we will learn how to use those also. Yeah, let's get started. So this website I have created using React and Gatsby. So Gatsby is a front-end library that is useful for creating static website, and it's very highly optimized and gives very high performance. So it's best option when we create a static website. There are a lot of other tools also, and all the data are like here. I have stored it here, so whenever I need to add something I can edit here, and it's easy to add, remove and customize. So the next step is, now we'll create the dist folder of this and we'll create the S3 bucket and upload our files to there. So it's done. So now we can see the public folder here. This is the dist folder I was talking about. So once this is generated, now let's go to AWS. So I have my AWS here. Let's go to S3 bucket. Now let's create bucket. So I'll give this unique name, and then we should untick this. It should allow all public access. We acknowledge this, and then we create a bucket. So the bucket is created here. Let's click on this. So there are no any files for now. After this we go to properties and we scroll to the bottom, and we will see this option. We have to click on the enable. So we are going to do the static hosting. Okay, so our static hosting is enabled here. So currently if I click on this link, it won't show me anything. So this is coming because I have to also define the bucket policy, saying it will allow get object access for this one. So I have to go to permission and this bucket policy. I have to edit this. So I have entered the bucket policy with this resource, the ARN, and also make sure to add /strict, and then we can save the changes. Yes, so once this is done, now we should be able to access this one. Okay, now we are getting 404 not found because there is no index.html. So now we need to upload our website. So now I have uploaded the files to the S3 bucket, so they are in the objects. Now if I go back to this link and refresh, yeah, so it's coming, and it's working fine. Everything is coming good. So the idea with this, I'm planning to call the Lambda functions from here, and we'll store whatever the user pass here to the DynamoDB in AWS. So we'll do this later. First, now let's link this to our domain. So I have bought the domain shravan.dev, and that in that we need to configure the name server, and which should show the page that is hosted in S3 bucket. So for that we go back to the AWS and we search for route 3. And we have to create the hosted zone. So we have to give the domain name. So I bought this domain. So I bought this from the name zip. So here, so it's here. So once I give this, I will define the hosted zone and we'll click on create. So once the hosted zone is created, it will give us the name servers, these 4. Now we have to copy these 4 and save this to our and I have to paste it. So once this is done, we have linked our domain to the hosted route 53 hosted zone. So now we will configure Cloudfront distribution. So we choose the S3 bucket, this one. This URL has to be changed, so let's click on this. Okay, yeah, this is the S3 bucket. Now we go down, this fine. Okay, on the viewer we need to click on this, redirect HTTP to HTTPS. After this we have to add the alternate domains. This one, so we have to click on this and add our domain. And then since we have to configure the SSL, so to make this HTTPS we have to create the certificate. So to click on this we go here, now let's request a public certificate. So here we'll type our domain name, Shravan.dev. So we choose DNS validation. We also have to add a new record in route 53, so it will be verified. So this is fine. Let's do request and you can see it here, view certificates, it's showing pending status, and in the certificate list also we can see the same pending validation. Let's click this, go back. Now we'll create a record in route 53. Click on this, it's going to create a CNAME record this way, and we do this. So the record this has been created in route 53. If we let's wait. Yeah, so I am back now. I think it is issued. Now let's go back to Cloudfront. It refresh on this. Okay, we can see the certificate now here. And then let's create the distribution. So now the Cloudfront is enabled. Now we have to go back to route 53 to do one extra addition step. So we have to create a record so that it will go to Cloudfront whenever we try to access our domain. So let's create a record. So now this is deployed and it's working in Shravan.dev. So now we'll work on this contact form. Then we'll return something like this kind of success response, and we'll restore this data to DynamoDB. And So now I'll go to AWS Lambda and click on create a function. So this is the contact API from profile. So we'll be coding in Node.js, and we can create the function. Now here I have written simple Node.js code which saves the contact data in DynamoDB. So whatever we pass it here, so it has to be the post request. So if it's a post request, it comes here, and we will pass the name, email, subject, message from the body, and we'll save this to DynamoDB and we'll return success response. So this simple Node.js code, I have saved this and deployed. So once deployed, I created a new function, this one. So when I hit /contact with post and this name, email, message and subject, I can now hit test. So currently it's showing it's not able to call the DynamoDB and cannot invoke the put item. So now we have to create the DynamoDB table and then fix the policy so that Lambda can call the DynamoDB and save this record. So let's create DynamoDB. So let's copy the table name that we want to create. Our unique key will be the time. So we search for DynamoDB. We click on this create table. Search name. So partition key will be the time. I think that's optional. Now the DynamoDB is created, but our Lambda can't still invoke that, so we have to create a policy. So for that, let's go and see the existing policy. So if I go to configuration and permission, I can see the current role. So the default, this is default, I haven't created anything. Contact API profile role. So let's click on this and see what's there. So this is the role, and this role has multiple permission. This is by default is for both the CloudWatch. Okay, I can copy this and create the policy. So this I have already done. So I went to the policy and created the new policy with the, I pasted this one for the CloudWatch, it's default, and added a new one for the DynamoDB. We can also do this visually, or you can use the JSON. So this ARN we can get from the DynamoDB. Here if I click on this DynamoDB, it will provide some general information. If I click additional info, so this is the ARN. So to access this resource, we have to create the policy such that any service can access this. So this is the policy. Another way to create the policies we can do visually. So if I click the visualize, we can click plus and select DynamoDB, and on the right I have selected the put item since we are doing this, and on the resource I did this, I just pasted this resource. So this is the same ARN that I got from the this DynamoDB. So I have added this access, and then these two are the default CloudWatch. You can see this visually. Yeah. So once I have added the permission, right, so I have saved this is already added. Now in the roles, this was the default role, right? We saw this in Lambda, this was the default role. So now we want to create a new role, so that we go to edit and we change the role to the roles we created. So the roles, I went ahead and created this role with the create role. So now this role will have one permission: Lambda contact API DynamoDB CloudWatch. So it will have this execution. So this is the policy that we created earlier. Now I can go here, refresh, and click on this, the new one I created, contact API execution rule. Let's save this. Now if I go back to test, I tested this already, I can retest this again. So if I click on test, okay, I am getting success response. Let's go to DynamoDB. Now let's see the records. So if I go to explore table items, I see 2 records. So that means our Lambda is working properly and is saving data into DynamoDB. So we can also make this Lambda public, but here I will be configuring API gateway, so because it provides additional features. So let's create API gateway. Let's go to REST API, build new API, name this as contact API. Yeah, so new API is created. Now we can create method. So we want to integrate with the Lambda. So our method will be post. So we have to enable these. So our Lambda is this one, this ARN contact API profile. You can also get the ARN from the Lambda. And let's create the method. Okay, so this one is created. So now we have to enable CORS. So let's click on this and click post. We can check both of these and hit save. So once the CORS is enabled, now also we have to add it to the headers in our Lambda API. So let's add this. So for now we'll do allow origin strict. Let's save it, deploy. So once this is done, we go back to the gateway. So we deploy. Let's test this. Yeah, so it's working fine. We are getting the response. So everything looks good. So now this is deployed and it's working in Shravan dev. So everything looks good. We also have the contact form that's in the message. Yeah, so it's working fine. Yeah. I'll also provide the documents on all these steps and the policies that I have defined. Thank you.